Keep Peter a couple of minutes to get on board. And we went live a minute early. I want to check the streams live on Facebook. I know fine, it's going out on YouTube. Yep, we're going live on Facebook, and I know we're going out on YouTube. So that's good. These a few minutes to get aboard, folks, then we'll get this broadcast underway. Okie dokie. That's the notification up that I'm live on YouTube as well. So welcome YouTube, welcome Facebook. Good morning, last Braveheart. Okay, folks. Morning, Southers. Morning, Jim. Right, let's get this broadcast underway. Andy Truck Davey out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire, where I have been for months now and will be going forward because I've changed my job. Where it is partly cloudy, mostly sunny, 15 degrees at the moment. Okie dokie. Right, so let's get this broadcast underway, alright? This is the review of the news for the 4th of the 8th, 2022, better known to you and me as yesterday. Alright, Thursday started with a mixed bag in the rags. In the red tops, it's all about Ailey McColgan winning a Commonwealth gold in the 10,000 metres race, 36 years after her mother, Liz, won the Commonwealth gold in the same race. Alright, the cost of living crisis makes the front pages. Fears soaring gas bills will drive inflation to 15%. The Times runs a Scotland bad story. Apparently the Yanks say Scotland's not doing enough to assist people who are trafficked into Scotland to commit crimes. Okay. Oh, the Times had to go fucking long way to get at Scotland bad story, did they know? Also, front page news. Brown man backs white woman for PN. Savage comes out in favour of Truss as the criminal cabal jockey for cabinet jobs. Okie dokie. Right, Sunak. Sunak to criminalise independent supporters. Sunak wants to make it illegal to criticise Britain and the British government. He intends to redefine any Scottish or Welsh independent supporter as an extremist. Alright? So there you have it, folks. Fascism is on its way. There's a lot went on down that road yesterday. We'll go through it step by step as we get to it. There's other things to talk about. But Sunak is suggesting that extremists or Scottish independent supporters and Welsh independent supporters are classed as extremists, and criticising the British state would make you an extremist and labelled a terrorist threat. So there you are. You can see yourself up to 2 years in jail for that. So there you go. Davy's now an extremist because Davy criticises the UK state all the time. Right, moving on Monday. And Jacob Rees-Mogg is doing the rounds of the television studios. Mogg is the Brexit Opportunities Minister who hasn't been able to find any Brexit opportunities except for maybe being able to fit bigger motors and a vacuum cleaner. Right, anyway, moving on, Jacob Rees-Mogg. And he tells reporters that the Westminster government intends to hold Nicola Sturgeon to account for her failings on health and education. Now, Mr. Mogg is allowed to make untrue and outlandish claims on air, unchallenged. As we all know, Scotland's NHS is outperforming England's NHS, and Scotland's education system is doing great. Actually, July 2022, and Eurostat announced that Scotland's got the highest educated population in Europe. And they fucking idiots down that road are saying we're too wee, too poor, and too stupid. Obviously, they're too stupid to read all the reports that are flying about saying Scottish education is excellent. Alright, anyway, Mr. Moggs allowed to make as I say, untrue and outlandish claims on air unchallenged. Moggy says they may have to take education and health out of the hands of the Scottish Government. Davy says the only people who can hold the Scottish Government to account are the Scottish people, because we're the bloody electorate here. It looks like Sunak will be the next Health Secretary, and the NHS UK-wide will be sold off. As to education, free tuition fees have bothered the Tories and Little England for years now. So, time to level up under the internal market bill. So they're talking about taking education and health out of the portfolios of the devolved administrations and re-centralising them in central government in London. Well, the reason for wanting to centralise education is you can pre-programme generation after generation to be Brit-Nats if you run the curriculum. Also, you get to take the university sector and privatise it, basically, and introduce a university tuition fees to Scots kids against our will, against our beliefs. We believe that education should be free to all those who want it. But no down that road. 27,000 quid for a 3-year degree down that road. We do 4-year degrees up here. We do a better standard of degree. But it looks like they're coming for health and they're coming for education, and Moggy's made it clear, and they're going to do it on false claims. But the ultimate ambition, of course, is to get rid of devolution. So they're going to undermine it institution by institution. And it looks like education and health are going to be the first two, because they want to privatise them. They're already privatising the education sector down that road. As I said to you, when a school fails an inspection down that road, they're taking out the hands of the councils. The deed for the schools taken from the councils, infrastructure that the English people paid for, and you and me, of course, we all pay for it. And the deeds are funded out of these boards that have been created. And these quangos, at this point in time, they are allegedly not taking money. Well, how are they paying for the operations of the school? Of course they're taking money. And it'll eventually turn into a profit-making racket. That's the game. To do exactly what they did in America. Privatise the school systems. Privatise the universities. Charge outrageous amounts of money. And the English people are sleepwalking into this. Muppets. But now they're coming for our education and our NHS. And yous were wrong in 2014 that this would bloody happen. So Moggy's more or less announced the intent to centralise education. They intend to centralise the NHS, and they intend to hold Nicola Sturgeon to account. That's not their fucking job. That's ours. We elect the Scottish Government. Devolution is being hollowed out. The devolution settlement is over. They might not shut that place right away, but there'll be a campaign for the next few years to convince us that that place along there is a failed experiment. When we know, because David and I put out a broadcast on the social contract, that we, the Scottish people, have with the Scottish Government along there is far superior to anything they have in Little England, Wales, or Northern Ireland. Right, moving on. That's your first rant. Also, Thursday, down that road, Suella Beaverman, the unqualified Attorney General, tells more senior civil service lawyers to stop telling ministers what they're doing or what they're trying to do is illegal and breaks the law, even if it is. So the Attorney General down there has told the civil servant lawyers, don't tell ministers they're breaking the law. They're going to fucking do it anyway. Fascism is on its way. Also, while she's at it, she launches her share of the culture war, a war on woke. Right. Now, I don't know how this word woke became an insult or how it became synonymous with the Gender Recognition Act. Woke means you're awake and you're aware of what's going on round about you. These fuckers down that road don't want you aware and awake of what's going on round about you. So anybody who's aware of what's going on is being called fucking woke. Fascism is creeping in down that road. deny Scottish democracy, deny Northern Irish democracy, make protest illegal, redefine anybody who criticises the state as an extremist. Wow, the English people are walking fucking fast right into the fascist condition. And they are, the charting classes doing their aware of it, but we'll get to that. Alright, moving on. Thursday, back here in Scotland. Data released by Edinburgh University says people living in deprived areas of Scotland were 2.6 times more likely to get a COVID fine than those in affluent areas. The information comes to light on the breakdown of 20,000 COVID fines issued in the year 2021. 3/4 of fines were issued to people of 30 years and younger. It's difficult to try and lock down young kids, you know. So, of course, they were the ones that were breaking the COVID rules. They wanted to be together. The young people, they're starting their lives. Wow. So we didn't need Edinburgh University to tell us that, but thanks for the information anyway. Right, moving on. Thursday. The Scotland shite story is alcohol. Alcohol deaths are at the highest level since 2008. So the typical drunken jocks stereotype is rolled out by the British Broadcasting Corporation. That's that behemoth along there in Pacific Quay that spends all day, every day telling us that we're shite, our country's shite, our institutions are shite. And that we shouldn't be calling ourselves Scottish, we should be calling ourselves British. It's in their charter, you know. Right. So, now, anyway, the alcohol death thing is the same as the drug death thing. The people dying are mainly over 50s who hit the bottle to self-medicate during the Tory Thatcher years. And, of course, there was the deindustrialisation of Scotland's manufacturing base, all right? And, and between 1979 and the referendum, between the 1979 referendum and the deindustrialisation of Scotland, Scotland lost its confidence, the cringe set in, and life expectancy fell like a ton of bricks. We spoke about the Black Report and things like that, all right? So, basically what happened was people get so depressed, they were on the scrap heap, they had no jobs, no prospects of a future, so they hit the bevy. Now, they've been on the bevy for 20, 30, 40 years, their bodies are wearing out and they're dying. Same thing as was happening with the drug addicts as they continue to hammer the bevy. All right, but what's interesting about what we're seeing at the moment is the Tories are trying to reintroduce the King's to Scotland again. And down that road, they're playing divide and conquer with England, Scotland and Wales because they know the social contract means that they can't hammer Scotland and Wales. They're worried. And that's also, they also see the chance of civil unrest down that road with Mom and Pop can't feed their kids later this year. As the cost of living crisis accelerates and all the Brexit checks kick in. So, there you have it. The Tories are at it again. And of course, as we know, they're crashing the economy again. It seems to be a pattern with the Tories. They've always been considered the party of the economy. When you get right down to it, every time they've been in power, over my lifetime, they've crashed the fucking economy. Right, moving on. Thursday, down that road, Truss has hit a sticky wicket in her campaign to be the next occupant of number 10 and leader of the criminal cabal. Anna Hustings the night before, she revealed a plan to save $8.8 billion. The idea was to create regional pay boards for civil servants and to pay civil servants out with London and the southeast of England less than civil servants in London. All right. Now, the outcry overnight from doctors, nurses, police officers, tax officials, teachers, lecturers, has Truss U-turn first thing this morning, the fastest U-turn we've ever seen. Just as well she isn't actually in government yet, Truss was then interviewed yesterday morning about this, and she said, "Oh, I never said that." Wow, it's another bojo. It would appear that just come straight out with black lies is okay now. I mean, we're talking about a person who was on a televised hustle the night before, made this policy announcement, and the next morning is denying she ever said it. Wow. If she makes it into number 10, it's just another bojo. A bojo with no balls. Wow. And apparently she hasn't got a COVID fine. Right, anyway. Moving on, Thursday. Andrew Bailey of the Bank of England gives a press conference after the meeting of the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee. Mr. Bailey tells us that the UK is heading into recession, but Bloomberg's already said we're in recession. All right, and that he was going to assist that recession happen by rising interest rates by 0.5% to 1.75%. That's the base rate. That's not what you and I pay on my mortgages and my loans. Right. Now that will push up rents in the private sector and mortgages, and taking more disposable income out of people's pockets, and this will accelerate the shrinking of the economy. Now, the idea is that they take demand out of the market and inflation will go down, but that's not what's happening here. You can't take demand for energy out of the market without people freezing to fucking death in the winter. So what's happening is the inflation is not being caused by people's pay. It's been caused by Brexit, global supply chains melting down, and a rampant profiteering in the energy markets. Could all be solved quite quickly with a stroke of the Chancellor's pen. Could limit the cost of electricity and make the big energy providers take the hit. They'll not be long in being reasonable. That would kill inflation still indeed. Because what's driving inflation is that every single business, the cost of their energy is went up. Moving stuff about, the cost of it's going up. Getting stuff in, the cost of it's going up. That's if you can get it in because of fucking Brexit. So these are all the drivers of inflation, along with, and they're all tied to two things, Brexit and rampant profiteering in the energy markets. Could all be solved very quickly, stroke of a pen, because this isn't wage inflation or anything like that. People haven't had pay rises. And people are not getting pay rises with inflation running at 10% at the moment. So the only way to solve this problem isn't banging up interest rates and taking more money out of wee Mrs. McGumple's pocket, because she's already struggling for disposable income. The answer to the problem is to regulate what the energy, big energy providers can charge for electricity and gas, and you tax the hell out of the oil and gas giants. That will bring down inflation. Right, moving on, Thursday. And food retailers warn that if food price inflation could get as high as 20% in the next few weeks. So what's causing food price inflation? Energy costs. Costs a lot of money to run a supermarket. With big fridges and all that in the back of that. And fuel costs. Costs a lot of money to move things back and forth between shops and warehouses. And Brexit making it harder to get imports of food. So that's what's driving food price inflation. They're telling us it's going to go up. It could be as high as 20% in the next few weeks. All right. So the cost of your weekly shops is about to go up by 20%, and you're already short on disposable income. Not good. Moving on, Thursday, back here in the land of the Seine. It's been reported that Glasgow City Council, in an attempt to raise funds to cover rising costs of energy and pay demands, intend to double the cost of on-street parking and the cost of residential parking permits. Right. Now, the on-street parking in the city centre could help in the race to net zero, but it could also, it could drive people onto the bus, but it could also endanger endanger even more the damaged and already near fatally wounded High Street. What we see, well, we'll just need to wait and see how that goes. Either the price of parking in Glasgow being doubled drives people onto the bus, or it ruins the High Street, what's left of it. So we'll need to keep an eye out and see what way it swings. Anyway, either way, it's going to be damned unpopular with the people of Glasgow. All right. Moving on Thursday, and the United GMB unions declare the date of the refuse collector strikes in Edinburgh. The strike will commence on the 18th of August and will last till the end of the Edinburgh Festival, which kicked off yesterday, by the way. Edinburgh is going to be a shithole in the second half of August, and if the weather stays warm, this strike could see public health in Edinburgh suffer. When you've got rubbish lying about in sweltering heat for a couple of weeks at a time, that will endanger public health. Simple as that. Right. Also Thursday, back here in Scotland, we are told that the cost of decommissioning oil rigs in the North Sea got 15 billion cheaper. This is another one of these gaslighting fucking pish that's being put out in the Scottish people. You can't be independent because you can't afford to decommission the oil and gas. Did they put the infrastructure out there? We're no paying to decommission oil and gas. And if the oil and gas companies have given government bonds or have taken bonds for the UK government to cover decommissioning, then the UK government can give them their money back. But I'll tell you what the Scottish people, if they want for independent, will tell them, you got it fucking out there, you get it back in. Get it decommissioned. You have made the profits out of the North Sea for the 40, 50 years. We're no paying for you leaving your shite out there. Simple as that. Right. Moving on. Also Thursday, Elgin to get a £5.5 million MRI scanner at Dr. Grace Hospital, easing pressures in Inverness and Aberdeen services. Okay. Also Thursday, rail strikes back on the cards in Scotland as RMT members working at ScotRail knocked back the same 5% offer accepted by ASLEF union train drivers. So there you go. There'll be strikes again. The railways are going to come to a standstill. And also Thursday, former SNP MP Natalie McGarry to appeal her conviction. Don't fancy her chances, but no doubt it'll be a big cost to the public purse. Also Thursday, Truss and Sunak clash in a hustings over the Bank of England's recession warning. Both, I have to tell you, were right out their depth, alright? And also Thursday, Sir Comrade Starmer, the relevant man of English politics, is found guilty of breaching the MP's code of conduct 8 times over not declaring gifts and monies on the members' register of interest. So Mr. Starmer's no white is white after all. Alright, and also Thursday, pressure on the next PM to sort out the economy. So that's a big story. Whatever one of the two of them makes it into number 10, the pressure will be on them to sort out the problems coming down the line in the economy. They can't fix it. The only way to fix it is to rejoin the single market and the customs union. They're not going to do that. So Little England and the rest of us, because we're being dragged along behind Little England, are rudderless and out there at sea and subject to market forces which they can't fucking afford. Because I keep telling you, they can't feed themselves, they can't clothe themselves, they can't power their country. It's a shithole. The public services are a meltdown. And they're looking up here trying to tell us. And the arrogance of the fuckers. And I don't mean English people, I mean the idiots like Jacob Rees-Mogg in Westminster. You know, we've got the best public services. David and I did a programme yesterday on the contract that we have with our government, the social contract compared to what they've got down that road. Wow. Mental. Right, where were we? So anyway, the economy. Well, that's not going to be good for Sunak, is it? Because Sunak's the Chancellor up until a few weeks ago who created the mess in the pecking economy. So he can't sort of get into number 10 because he is the guy that created the situation. And Liz Truss is eminently suitable to try and sort out the mess in the economy. Neither of them are. Can't think of anybody doing that road that's fit for it. Anyway, so let's have a wee. Now, the next wee bit's interesting. Thursday, it comes to light that while Little England's in meltdown and rudderless, with the economy going tits up, the pound teetering on the edge, and people going to die this winter because they can't afford to pay their bills, where's the interim Prime Minister and the Chancellor? I'll tell you where they are. They're on holiday. You couldn't make this piss up. You just could not make it up. The economy's in meltdown. The cost of living crisis is rampant. Food inflation to reach 20% in the next couple of weeks. People can't afford to pay their bills. They're talking about opening warren banks so that people can leave their cold hovels in the morning and go back to their cold hovels at night. Why do I say hovels? Well, down that road, the Tories voted down a lot to make a rented accommodation habitable for human life. It's very hard to believe how the people down that road keep self-harming. See one guy in the thread yesterday talking about 2 world wars and a World Cup. I mean, the guy thinks they won a world war. The first one was a fight between 2 royal brats, and the second one was one with the Allies, including the Americans, the Scots, the Irish, the colonies, Australia, and Russia. England didn't win 2 world wars. England won fuck all. And apparently they cheated in the football game in '66. I don't know. I've never looked at it. All I know is they keep talking about this bloody thing that happened a century ago. Mental. Right. So what did we learn? Hold on a minute. What did we learn yesterday? The attacks on Holyrood goes on. The devolution settlement to be rewritten, with health and education being centralised in London. Welsh and Scottish independence supporters to be relabelled as extremists, and anybody criticising the state is to be labelled an extremist stroke terrorist. The move to full-on fascism is well underway. As the criminal cabal, and which is the state, tries to hide from Little England just how poor, barren, a wasteland the place is. They can't feed themselves, they can't power themselves, they can't clothe themselves. Their economy is fucked because they kept electing crooks who acted against their interests. And of course, you can throw in Brexit for stupidity as well. London's burning and England is rudderless, probably just as well, as the last captain of the good ship Little England was a liar and a drunken crook, and the next leader of the criminal cabal and captain of the ship Little England is a fucking idiot. Wow. The acts of self-harm going on down that road are mind-boggling. But what I do have to say is the chattering classes are starting to notice. Because Thursday, the chattering classes in England are getting concerned with the treatment of democracy in Scotland and in Northern Ireland and the wider UK. The English people and the media are starting to question the democracy deniers. You can see the fear creeping into the chattering classes' eyes down that road. They can see Westminster and the state is moving to fascism and totalitarianism. The Yovo down there, the Brexit voter, the unthinking, those who don't pay attention to politics, they're marching happily into fascism. But those in the chattering classes, especially those in the media, and it's being led by LBC, believe it or not, are starting to question the situation. Really question the situation. And looking at some of the bills coming through, if I was a journalist down that road, I would be getting my questions in the new. because criticising the state is about to be criminalised. And that will kill free media, honest media, investigative journalism. Kill it stone dead. Basically, criticising the state will be outlawed. Unfucking believable. Hey, but as I say, the chattering classes doing that road are starting to wake up to it. Right, here are the stories I picked out to talk about. So let's quickly do the paper review because I've got a dragon to pick up at 12. Right, here we go. Let's have a look at this morning's papers, shall we? Where are we? Let's see what pisses in the rags, folks. This ought to be funny. Here we go. The Times has. Britain slides into crisis. It's been in crisis for years. You fuckers doing that road have not been awake. Spanners. The Daily Telegraph. Recession to cause record drops in income. Oh, fucking newsflash. I was telling you about this in 2016. People thought I was mad because they kept booting the Brexit can down the road. Well, hey, it's arrived. All these things were foreseen. All of them. The one who ragged the Scottish Daily Mail. Banker who's running out of credit. Inflation set to hit almost 7 times his official target. Critics accused bank governor of being asleep at the wheel. Now we fear a year of recession. Is nobody paying attention? The OBR has predicted that when full Brexit effect hits, GDP to drop by 4% and the UK to get into a recession for a decade. Is nobody listening? Fuck. That's the biggest selling paper in the UK, lying and gaslighting the people. The Scotsman, because Jacob Rees-Mogg himself says it'll take 50 years to see a Brexit benefit. 50 years! Half a century! That's half a century of recession to you and me. The Scotsman has bank hikes rates to stave off inflation as recession looms. It ain't gonna work. It's not the normal inflationary pressures we have, where you take money out of consumers' pockets to drive down demand. That's no it. You can't do that with energy. Or people fucking freeze to death. The Metro has the big squeeze. Wow, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait until the tail end of this year when foodstuffs start running out. The Eye has the big squeeze. The lunatic, the Daily Express has recession on the way. Time to batten down a high. What? There's nothing left to batten down, you spanners. You've been losing it consistently since the Brexit vote. The UK has got the highest inflation, pardon me, and the lowest growth prediction in the G7. The OBR predicts it'll take a decade to sort out the Brexit mess. That's a little tasty. Sort out a trade deals. And Jacob Rees-Mogg expects it to take 50 years to sort out the mess. Jesus Christ. These papers are treating people as if they're effing stupid. The Herald has homeowners face soaring bills after interest rate hikes. So do those in the private rented sector. Because basically people who rent out in the private rented sector, their private rental properties are mortgaged. But the gaslighting in the papers is no real. Absolutely outrageous. The National has. Now is the time to get Scotland out, and that's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And we need to launch a new currency immediately. Because the minute we take our assets, the pound's done. It's finished. The Star has. The bad news, we're going into recession for over a year. Inflation is heading for 15%. our mortgages will soar as interest rates rise. The lights are going off, our water's running out, and now we face war with China. The good news is the Premiership's back tonight. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, Jesus, folks. Listen, there are idiots at the head of the UK government, but the real evil bastards are the state. The state is trying very, very hard to hide the fact that Little England is bust. It's a busted flush. And with Wales and Scotland talking about up and sticks and walking away, Little England has nothing left. It never had nothing. Everything it ever had, it stole from other countries. The last two colonies, Scotland and Wales, walk away. Little England's got nothing, no manufacturing base, because Thatcher turned it into a service industry economy. So all they do is offer professional services, and you can get them anywhere in the world. And Brexit means that they don't have any equivalents to sell professional services into the biggest, richest market in the world. Brexit, as I've been saying all week, stupid is as stupid does. The English education system has failed. Because when people repeatedly vote against their own interests, it shows that they're fucking stupid. As simple as that. Little England is looking backwards, harking back to 2 world wars they think they won, and a World Cup they won. They are absolutely gaga. It's time to get out. Right, folks, that's what I've got for you today. I hope you found it informative. I hope you found it interesting. And I hope you found some of my analysis quite funny. But the truth of it is there's not much good news out there. And they're trying to rebrand us, Scottish independence supporters, as dissidents or extremists or dangerous is nuts. But it shows you how desperate the state's getting to hide the fact that Little England is too weak, too poor, and too stupid to stand on its own 2 feet. It can't feed itself, it can't power itself. It has no manufacturing base to be able to even clothe its bloody self. Unbelievable. And the people doing that road have got the arrogance to try and tell anybody what to do. We're talking about people who's that thick that they voted to take themselves out of a market of 500 million people in favour of a market of 63.2 million people. The term gross stupidity goes with English voter. Now that's what I've got for you guys. Alright, I need to go and get a dragon. So let's go on to the usual stuff. There is a campaign underway. The people of Scotland will have its say. Whether it be a referendum, which I think it will be, because pressure's starting to mount down that road, on them by their own chartering classes. The chartering classes are those who enable the state, and they're starting to question the state. So there is a campaign underway, so get your eyes on the prize. Partisan politics in your pockets. Learn your how you gonnies. Get out there and win hearts and minds. Okay, we support the independent media, support Broadcast in Scotland, support Independence Live, support Indie Live Radio, support Caledon Media. Norrie, there's a cracking wee show there. He's probably a wee rant now and again, I know, Norrie. And if we go to Trues Radio and support the National Newspaper, and if any of these places have got a crowdfunder going, the independent bloggers and bloggers, and the wee radio stations and that, if you've got a couple of pennies you can throw in the pot, please do. These guys do fantastic work. Okay, it's the weekend, folks. Alright, so here we go. Remember the last couple of bits of guidance. Face masks in the closed public spaces, clean hands and surfaces regularly. Alright, now, if you're feeling no well, mask up, social distance, show a wee bit of social responsibility. And if you're still testing the NHS lateral flow tests, because they are still available for essential workers, then submit your report of your results, please, so we can try and track what's going on. Now, it's the weekend, guys, alright? So look after yourselves. Be kind to each other. And as I say, think COVID's not going away, folks. It's not. Just be careful out there. Look after each other. I'll be back Monday to start another week of ripping this pish apart. Alright, you guys have a cracking weekend. Look after yourselves. You have a good day as well.